Okay, let's go to the next crypto story. This is on Utah. As one state gets closer on crypto reserve, others jump into the fray. Utah cleared its digital assets bill through the state house, so it's not quite through yet, but it's on its way. Utah became the first state to get a bill through a legislative chamber that would allow the investment of public money into crypto assets.
So let me explain a little bit about this. So it did squeak through the House. It has not been assigned to a committee yet that I know of in the Senate. And the Senate is much more knowledgeable and experienced in Utah about finance. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
there are two issues here. Well, there's several issues, but two to focus on here. They are talking Utah has a budget stabilization fund, which is made up of a rainy day fund, which is about 330 million, and then they have a income tax reserve, which is about 880 million. Total package is about 1.4 billion. And the bill that squeaked through the House was 5%. So you could invest up to 5% of
Okay.
1.4 billion in, stable coin or cryptocurrency that has at least a 500 billion market cap. Now, here's the issue. A budget stabilization fund is a fund for the worst case. So you always have it in things that are highly liquid and extremely conservative. You never put in anything which is price volatile or could be down in an extreme. If you have a financial crisis, you don't want speculative assets because they're going to be down. Okay.
Right.
So if we were to treat Bitcoin, I mean, if you look at the price behavior, the liquidity in the market, it's a highly speculative. I won't even call it an asset, but if it were an asset, to me, it's a Ponzi scheme. But if it were an asset, it's still a highly speculative one. You would never put a volatile, highly speculative asset of any nature
Right.
or category in a budget stabilization fund. It's just the most inappropriate thing. It's like if you put your money in, your kid's education fund the year before they went to college in
Yeah.
something that could go down 50 to 80% in a year and had in prior years. You
Put it
would
on
never do.
red.
Now, let's go back to what we were talking about with China and the decoupling from China. We're in an environment where we are decoupling from China, which means deglobalization, which means there is a tremendous opportunity for an economy like Utah, which is very entrepreneurial, very diversified, very strong in tech, to
Right.
take back and reindustrialize all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's an incredible opportunity, and it's an important opportunity because they import from Mexico. The 3 biggest imports are Mexico, Canada, China. Who are we having tariff wars with? Mexico, Canada, China, okay?
Yeah. Right.
Now, that means you have an opportunity to deindustrialize, but you need lots of money creation and investment power within the state. You need to invest in doing that, whatever that is, right?
Right.
So instead of doing that, we're going to ship money out of state to buy digital assets when we could create our own digital assets in state if we wanted digital assets, right?
Right. Right. So if I were to be a conspiratorial sort of mindset, I might be inclined to believe that the tariffs wars and the tariff strategy here was to get money pumped into Bitcoin rather than into things that might do us good, like reindustrializing our state. So it's a good thing I don't think like that. Is that what you're
Well,
telling me?
if I would, given the talent Utah, so Utah has a lot of talent.
Right.
My number one would be science and tech. We want to decouple from China and we want to win at science and tech. If Utah doesn't do it, who's going to do it, right?
Right.
You go to the leaders. That's number one. Number two, you're going to reindustrialize with automation. Utah's the perfect place to do it. You're going to do that. Three, you're going to invest in talent because, they got 300,000 plus engineers with IQs of 160. We need to do the same. So, and you're certainly going to stop the chronic epidemic among children because you're never going to get the talent if you're doing that. So, you're going to do all those things. If you want digital assets, you're going to create them. I mean, you could have every county create a community currency and you could buy
Right.
that, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay. And you could buy deposits from local banks, et cetera. You could do a sovereign bank to create more money. All of those things build your economic power and muscle. why would you buy Bitcoin? Now, there's one reason I think these guys want you to buy Bitcoin. Utah, if they have a strategic weakness, what is it? Their strategic weakness is that the federal government owns 63.1% of their land, and that
Yeah,
is
wow.
beautiful land. Utah is a beautiful, beautiful state, and the federal government owns 63%, which means Howard Lutnick and his sovereign wealth fund and the Gates guy at Interior, right? What are they talking about? They're talking about privatization of management or ownership
Yeah,
of all sorts of federal assets and mining, extraction of all sorts of federal assets. Now, if they want to buy all that stuff for Bitcoin, they got to run the price up.
right,
So if you want to get
right,
a hold of Utah's land and you can get Utah to buy Bitcoin and help you run up the price, that makes it easier for you to get control of Utah's land.
right.
So my if you're from Utah and you're listening to this, what I'm telling you is no one ever plays to win by financing the bullets of the gun that's pointed at their head.